If we can bring the lights up, that would be good, because it's mid-afternoon. I don't want anyone taking a nap. There weren't that many people interested in Japan when someone wanted you to raise hands. I think maybe you were sleeping back then, but sitting through this section of the conference, I think if you haven't been interested in the market in Japan, you will become interested, because Japan is a market that offers lots and lots and lots of opportunities. And the people that we have up on stage are right in the middle of it and really know what they're talking about. So let's be interactive. If you have questions, raise your hand. We have a microphone. We can get your questions answered. And forget about what I think we're going to talk about, which is we're going to touch real briefly on what has happened in the last 10 years in the non-branded sector, specifically in terms of pricing, talk about the state of the current market, then talk about the future market, and then talk about the buyers, both international buyers and domestic buyers. And on the panel, really the guys that are going to give you the information, from left to right, we have Ito-san, who's the CEO of GOYOH and also Asterisk Realty. Ito-san has been involved in putting buyers and sellers and advising in high-end residential in Japan for many years. With GOYOH, he's working with the government, developing sustainability issues. We can talk a little bit about that later. Next to him on his right is Viona Zhang. You've heard a lot about Bill Barnett and C9. Well, Viona does all the work. Bill's just up in front talking. That's about it. But she does all the work. She's the brains of the organization. And she does a lot of the on-the-ground research and reports for projects in Japan where C9 is very, very active. Last and not least, we have a twosome that is helping us. And we have Kiuchi-san, who is the Chief Operating Officer of List Development Company. Now, List does a lot of things. They're developers of branded residential. And also, you might know one of their investee companies, which is Sotheby's Real Estate. So they have the Sotheby's business in Japan and throughout Asia. So they really know the buyers that are buying into Japan and other parts of the region as well. And helping him communicate with us, because his English is not as good as mine, is Watanabe-san. Watanabe-san is not just a translator, very seasoned hotelier. We share some common stops in the past, so he understands the business as well. So let's be interactive, answer questions or ask questions from the audience as something pops in your head, and we'll make it your personal forum. There are not many of us, so do let your questions be answered by people who know. Dozo, if you can have a seat and get comfortable. I thought a way to start the stage, and Japan is really a market of opportunity. The market is not penetrated very deeply with branded residential. And really the residential market has evolved quite a bit in the last 10 to 15 years. And maybe just real briefly and concentrate perhaps on urban markets. Where has pricing moved and design trends moved in the last 10 years in unbranded? And I think it's relative to the branded conversation as well. Does anyone want to touch on that?
トレンドとか。わかりました。じゃあ、リストグループの木内と申します。よろしくお願いします。
My name is Kiuchi from the List Development. He's going to talk about the current market and the last 10 years trend.
じゃあまず最初にこの場で登壇させていただくことを非常に光栄に思ってます。ありがとうございます。あと日本のデベロッパーの代表として話させていただくことを非常に光栄に思ってます。よろしくお願いします。
It is my pleasure to talking at this prestigious event, and also as a representative of the Japanese developer, I'm very pleased to speak today. Thank you.
まず現在の日本のブランデッド市場の現況についてちょっとお話しさせていただきます。日本のブランデッド市場は今まで非常に未発達でありましたので、供給に関して非常に限定的でありましたけれども、昨今の国内外含めた富裕層の居住志向の変化であったりとか、 日本に対する興味が非常に湧いてきているところもあってですね、今後かなり発展的になっていくだろうなというふうに感じています。注目度が非常に上がっているなと思っています。特に都心の一等地での開発が非常に進んでいますので、市場成長が今後も続くだろうなというふうに見込んでいます。
Okay, so current Japan market condition, Japan's branded residence market has long remained undeveloped with extremely limited supply. However, in recent years, it has been gaining attention due to the shifting residential preference among ultra high net worth individuals, both domestically and internationally. Along with rising global interest in Japan, development is especially accelerating in prime urban location, and the market is expected to continue to growing.
あと過去10年なんですけども、日本では各デベロッパーが独自でのブランドで高級価格帯のマンションを開発したこともありますので、ブランデッドレジデンスの普及に供給に関しては非常に限定的に進んできてました。特に言えば都心部でのタワーマンションの供給だったりとか、リゾート地での別荘の開発というのが具体例では挙げられます。
Over the past decade, Japanese developers has supplied high-end residences under strong domestic brands, which limited the spread of the branded residences. For example, including high-rise luxury condominiums in central Tokyo area and premium vacation homes in resort areas.
で現時点で成功している市場については大きく3つぐらいが挙げられるかなと思っています。まず一つは東京の本当都心部、具体で言えば港区、渋谷区、千代田区といったようなところに関しては、非常に高級住宅の供給がうまくいっています。あとは地方においても、例えば今エキスポが行われているような大阪、こういったところでも非常に今高級住宅が今開発をされてまして、富裕層からの注目を浴びています。あとはリゾートエリアですね。軽井沢、ニセコ、沖縄、こういったところに関しましても、リゾート開発が非常に進んでいるなというのが現況でございます。
And current successful market, especially in Tokyo, the strong demand for the ultra luxury regions in prime central areas such as Minato and Shibuya and Chiyoda Ward. And also the other urban area, let's say, for instance, currently holding the Expo in Osaka is seeing the increased luxury development touching with affluent buyers. And also for the resort area, premium resort development in Karuizawa and Niseko and Okinawa have proven successful. Thank you.
Ito-san,
Yes.
before I'm on residence,
Uh-huh.
what were I assume you know, what were the highest priced residential condominiums selling for in Tokyo?
Oh, sorry. I cannot remember well because it changed a lot in last 10 years. But let me explain what I experienced with Japanese with high net worth individuals in the market last 10 years.
Right.
So I will briefly explain my background. So 10 years ago, I was mainly doing fund placement business for global real estate fund to raise capital from Japanese investors. And we help them to invest into Japanese hospitality and luxury sector. So we help them to raise money and invest into Japan. And at the same time, we help ultra high net worth Japanese individuals to buy luxury homes outside Japan. Mm-hmm. The reason was they couldn't find houses they wanted to buy in Japan, but outside Japan. So that was 10 years ago.
Yep.
And I think that the timing among residents was coming to Japan. In Kyoto, I think that there was the first one.
Four Seasons Hotel.
The Four Seasons Kyoto.
Four Seasons Hotel.
Four Seasons?
Right.
Oh, I think the price per square meter was maybe 1/3 or half of the price from today's level, I think.
Yeah, I guess the answer that I was looking for in Tokyo, the biggest urban market in Japan, condominiums there were going for 10 million to 14 million yen per tsubo, which is 1,700, something like that, US dollars per square foot. Now we look at the market, let's keep that in mind, that 1,700-ish amount per square foot for an urban property. And now let's move to branded residences and talk about what's happening with branded residences in terms of trends, in terms of design, prices, and location. And maybe, Viona,
Yeah.
you'd like to address what markets are popular with branded residential, what type of units, and what type of pricing we're seeing.
Yeah, maybe so since they have been shared the past trends, and I'm here to take a more forward-looking view. One number here, very important, 2.7 billion. That is the market value of Japan branded residences for the unit that's on sale in the market right now. In the pipeline, which is not on sale yet, that's another 50%, so another 1,000 units. So if you divide that number, you'll notice the average unit price is about 1 to 2 million US dollars. That tells us something, right? It's an ultra luxury, high-end branded residences market. So very different from Thailand market. Japan is very transparent, freehold, welcoming the foreign ownership. So very different from other markets we see in Southeast Asia. For branded residences, Niseko definitely one of the most important resort market, but we also seeing that expanding into urban locations like Tokyo. There is a lot of non-branded residences, but luxury tier in Tokyo. And it's basically, the market right now is quite under-penetrated. We do hold the opinion that we think the market should be more educated in order to have that brand's entry into the market. So we do see a lot of potential. Okinawa as well, so second-tier resort destination, Hakuba, Okinawa also coming into this market as well.
Yeah, I think we look at the map that's to the right of everyone in the audience. A couple things pop out to you. One, you see Hokkaido with 1,600 units. This is all C9 data, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a small ski area, basically. And then you see Tokyo, one of the largest cities in the world with a huge population of affluence with only 101 branded residential units. That's no typo, guys. That's real. So when I say Japan is a market of opportunity, all you have to do is just look at Tokyo, and you see that this place is ripe for branded residential product. I mentioned Amon, Tokyo, and Amon, Tokyo is a residential development in Azabudai Hills, and the units there originally sold for, let's say, between 20 and 30-ish million yen per tsubo, which is almost $4,000 to almost $6,000 per square foot. And the most recent sale was at the Mark in Omotesando, which was approaching $10,000 per square meter. And at Amon Residences, right, there was a recent sale over 40 million?
Yeah, 40
Kiuchi-san?
million. Yeah.
Over 40 million? So, and over 40 million is what? Fiona? 7,000? Our converter, million yen per tsubo, just square.
70,000, yeah. US
So
dollars.
$7,000-8,000 per square
Meter.
foot, whatever you want to talk about. The market's really, really showing its potential. Now, you talked, Kiuchi-san, about some markets outside Tokyo. You talked about Karazawa. Where do you see the potential besides Karazawa in markets surrounding Tokyo, that escape market? Are there any other cities or areas besides Karazawa that you see potential for?
軽井沢以外に、東京の近郊でポテンシャルがあるところってどこがありますか？
まだちょっと我々も今取り込もうと思ってるのは、やっぱ船ですかね、船のスーパーヨットがつけられるようなところを今考えてはいるので、下田だったりとか、横浜の方だったりとか、そういうのはもしかしたら東京近郊ではポテンシャルが高いんじゃないかなというふうに私たちは思っています。
あとはあれですかね、箱根。
そうです。あとはそうですね、ゴールデンルートの箱根は日本の中でも評価が高いエリアだと思っています。
そうですね。Sorry. So for the beside the Karuizawa, we think that some of the harbors near where they can accept like a super yacht for the luxury people, like Shimoda or like Yokohama, or that is about within our from the Tokyo, central Tokyo. Also, the Hakone, the hot springs area, could be the next destination.
Yeah, mountaintop area, about an hour and a half outside Tokyo as well.
Yeah, about 1 hour from Tokyo. Yeah.
You drive faster than I do. Ito-san, what trends do you see in what people are looking for in terms of purchasing? What type of units? What size of units?
I think it may be interesting for us to watch something behind the market. So I think this is a really interesting map. I have never seen things like this. Thank you, Fiona. But I think it's very obvious that the location where you have many units, the developments are by international capitals, not by Japanese developer or Japanese capitals. So I can also say that the place in Hokkaido and Okinawa, the place Japanese developer didn't have land. And the land was open for international buyer to developer to buy land. So I think we can see the big gap between Japanese developer and the international developer and hospitality companies. So if we look at Hokkaido and Okinawa, I think a unit what global buyers are buying, easy to rent unit. But I think many of the global buyers want to buy prime luxury residence in central Tokyo. So properties like One Hyde Park, 220 Central Park South. Those are properties I actually help Japanese 100% individual to buy overseas. But we don't see a similar project in central Tokyo. So I think rather than demand by the buyer, I think supply is a problem in Japan. I think these numbers are clearly showing that the fact, I think. So I want to encourage global players to convince Japanese developer that they can make a more luxury project in central Tokyo, and there's buyers in the global market.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons for that, there's some very, very large developers, residential developers in Japan. They do really well. They make a lot of money. And they look at making the move to branded residential, and they're not sure that they can't do better, and they like their brands anyway. So I think what we've seen with Amon will lead the way for domestic developers, like maybe even List, to develop some branded residential in the future. Does List have any plans for branded residential within Japan?
リスト、大手の、ディベロッパーさん今特に積極的にはやってないんですけども、リストさんの方では今どういう日本でブランデッドレジデンスを計画してますかという。
なるほど。まだちょっとブランド名は言えないんですけども、実は来月に軽井沢で日本初進出のホテルと今組んでですね、プレスが出せるような軽井沢で大きいプロジェクトを今やろうとしつつしてます。あとは今我々もちょうどこの北海道ニセコであったりとかセントラル東京の都心部においても具体的に今世界ブランドと一緒にプロジェクトを今進めようとして今協議を進めているところがありますので、なかなか大手が手をつけられないようなところはあるんですけども、我々小さい会社ですので、フレキシブルにスピーディーに動ける会社というのは特徴がありますし、サービスというフランチャイズを持っているのが非常に我々は強い会社だと思っているので、具体的にはそういったプロジェクトを今進めているところです。
So right now, at the list development, we are planning to build a luxury five-star hotel in Karuizawa with a branded residence. We can't disclose the brand at this point, but you will see our news sometime next month. And also, we are developing the Niseko in Hokkaido, and also we are working with some like a small luxury, ultra luxury residential branded residence in central Tokyo. And since we are the mid-size developer, we can make a quick decision and also the doing some like frontier work for the branded residence for Japan. Thank you.
And in Tokyo, Kiuchi-san, are you expecting to get more than the historical top for residential that's not branded? Are you expect to exceed 15 million yen per tsubo in Tokyo? Are you expected to get
なんですか。
皆さんもっと高く売ることはできるブランド
もう
レジデンスけど。
十分できると思います。
We are pretty much confident we can make the record high if we have a branded residence in Tokyo.
And do you think, maybe between the two of you, do you think Mori-san is going to do something else that's branded? Mr. Mori with Mori Building is the one who developed Amon residences.
森さんもっとやったりとか。
やると思います、森さんは。はい。
Yeah, we believe that they also do another project soon.
So you think he's pretty happy with the results?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. Hey, Omar, you've knocked on a lot of doors in Japan, right? Over the years, a couple different tattoos on your sleeve. Where do you think the branded residential market's going in Japan?
Well, I think that...
Omar Moreno with Miner Group now, sorry.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think that obviously the main first-tier cities, Tokyo, Kyoto, are the Osaka. They will be obviously always there. But then drive to destinations from Tokyo, such as places like Arisawa are very interesting, Hakone are very interesting, and definitely ski resorts are always destinations where I think the demand will always be there, in my opinion. So I think Japan is just going to continue to go up in the residential world.
For those of you that don't know, you've probably heard of Hakone, but Karazawa is let's call it a mountain town that from Tokyo Station, you get there in 1 hour on the train. And in August, trust me, you don't want to be in Tokyo. It'll melt the soles of your shoe. So for many, many years, that's been a summer retreat, and many of Japanese affluents have a secondary home in Karazawa already, so it has a long history of residential. Mr. Ryan, if he was living in Tokyo, would have a mansion in Karazawa, I'm sure. Oh, you want the microphone? Yeah. Oh, this is dangerous.
Just in terms of Niseko that you mentioned, it's not only got the best snow in the world, it's the best value skiing anywhere in the world compared to Europe and anywhere else. So what you've seen there, though, I think is you've got the Park Hyatt. I was a little bit interested in the proportion of hotel rooms and residences in that project. And secondly, at the other end of the scale, you've got 101, which has got a very small 22 square metre room, which is then subdivided and sold off independently, which seems to be doing well. So there seems to be, you've got one end luxury at Park Hyatt, and the other end, the 101. Yeah.
So the first question, I heard two questions there, was Park Hyatt, how many hotel rooms, how many residences? Viona, do you?
No, yeah, I'm totally with what you just mentioned. So the market is quite segmented into two parts. One is the ultra luxury tiers. The other one is the mid-scale. And within that mid-scale, there's another one which is on the land plot. So in Niseko, for example, you see a lot of developers, they are selling the pure lands, so land plots. Those are actually normally selling well, priced between, it depends on the location, but anywhere between $500,000 to 2 million, 3 million per plot, depending on the size. But the thing is, construction cost in Niseko is really high. So the construction cost define also the sales price, right? How much you can build defines how much you can sell. So the market characteristic is such that the location it's for boutique, high-end luxury property development. In the pipeline, we do see a lot of upcoming brands, Capella, there's New World Rosewood, even though they're not for sale now, but there is a lot of pipeline in Niseko for that ultra luxury tier.
And a lot of that, as pointed out earlier, is because that's where the international developers are going. Now, someone just whispered in my ear, Bill, to answer your question, 100 hotel rooms, 60 residences. Did I get that right, Bill? Yep. So still more hotel rooms, right, than residences. Let's talk about the buyers for a minute. Who are the buyers in Japan for branded residential, do you think? Ito-san's talked a bit about there's more demand than there's supply. So let's assume there's supply. What are the buyers looking for, and who are they? The domestic buyers first.
バイヤーはどういうふうな人
I think we can expect more domestic buyers in this market.
If there's supply.
Yes, and I think it's common anywhere in the world, but ultra high net worth individuals pay for what lifestyle they want to. So, but today's market, the developers are making the hardware, and I think if the developer put good software to make the Japanese high net worth buyer satisfied, I think there are a lot of demand. But so far, I think these numbers are very obvious. I think not many Japanese rich people buy residences in Niseko. There are some, but majority is overseas buyers.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that what Japanese high net worth individual wants are different from what global buyers. So I think that's a key point. I think.
Yep. And I think perhaps that's why they're developing something in Karazawa. I would imagine their expectations. Your expectations in Karazawa for the residential sales, is it more Japanese buyers or more international buyers?
はいいかがですか
国内および国外の調布輸送が半々ぐらいになるんじゃないかなというふうに私は予想します。で一方でこの白馬48ユニット、多分おそらくうちの会社が去年38ユニットやったと思うんですけど、それがやっぱり1億前後の案件だと8割ぐらい日本人買うんですけど、それを上回るブランドレジデンスだとやっぱり50-50ぐらいになるんじゃないかなと予想します。
So we expect, especially for like Karizawa, we expect like a 50-50, half Japanese ultra high net worth individual, but also the another half from the foreign buyers. Also for Hakuba, for this number, 48 units, this is including our 38 units we just sold in the Hakuba area last year. Those
All sold.
Yeah, we have done the luxury ski resorts in Hakuba. And until like a 1 million Japanese yen, 1 million US dollar range, the 80% of the Japanese buyer.
80%.
But if exceed like 2 million US dollar one is 50% of the international buyers.
Another ski and onsen resort.
So more like a luxurious segment, probably more like an international and Japan half and half mix.
Yep. When Mori-san was building the Aman residences, he was expecting the vast majority to be international buyers. And maybe it was COVID time that influenced it, but the majority of those units were purchased by domestic buyers.
Eric, can I say one thing?
Yep.
I think the great success of Mori Buildings among residents in Azabudai Hills is because they changed their strategy in the last 10 years. So for 10 years ago, there was a project called Roppongi Hills, which was highest standard luxury residence in Tokyo that time, about 15 years ago. So any people can see the price of unit for sale, and they were selecting the buyer by lottery. So you know, in that way, it's very difficult to maintain your brand power, right? So in last 10 years, I traveled with Maurice to London and New York together to see how overseas luxury residents are sold, how they are doing marketing and data and strategy. So they are not showing their unit to everyone. They are showing to only selected and capable buyers. I think that reached to the success of the urban residence project today. But I think Mori building is the most advancing case among Japanese developers. Other Japanese developers are not at that level yet. So, but I think for that, you know, international operator can help Japanese developer to, you know, upgrade their approach, I think.
Yeah, if I wanted to go look at an Amman residence, I wouldn't qualify to even get to see the model, right? And it's good. It makes it scarce. It makes it hard to get. It's like Veblen goods. The more expensive it is, the more you want it, the more you'll pay for it. And he's proven that point, and I think that's opening everybody's eyes. And I expect to see a lot more of the Japanese players, not only groups like List, which are smaller, more entrepreneurial than the Mitsui Fudosan or Mitsubishi Estate groups, but I expect to see more of that happening because there's been real price premiums that have been proven. With the domestic buyers, are they looking for anything different than the past product? And we're talking urban, in the urban market. Is there anything different, number of bedrooms, size of the kitchen, open kitchen, number of bathrooms, or any changes from traditional Japanese residences?
これまでと違ったようなものを求めてますかってことね。喋れます？日本のお客さんと違ったものを求められてます。
Maybe I can jump in first. So
Yeah, yep.
just share from a branded residences perspective in general. I think people, the high net worth people, buyers are not just looking for a logo placement, but they're really looking for iconic development. I think a sense of belonging. That's where the identity, right? The identity through owning a real estate. That's what really drives a lot of demand for those ultra luxury residences.
Yeah. You know, I'm going to go back to what Ito-san said about 15 minutes ago. I'm Japanese. I have a lot of money. I'm traveling. I'm in London. I'm in New York. I'm in LA. I see places that have 4 bathrooms, a powder room in the living room area, each bedroom having ensuite. I go to Japan, the most luxurious condominium project. How many bathrooms do I have? 1, right? So they weren't buying there. They couldn't find the type of house they wanted to buy, whether primary residence or secondary residence. And I see more of what's overseas coming into, that's why Mori-san was making those trips, coming into the product that will happen in branded residences in Japan, eh?
Yes, I lived in the United States for more than 20 years. So when I came back from Japan, I exactly noticed that all the floor plan is different from the outside of Japan. So I think, but now we see the more international standard, and we also talking with all the designer to design more like a global standard.
Yep. We only have a couple minutes left. Let's talk about the other demand, the international demand. And I'll start with one of the two ends. Where, Kiuchi-san, where do you see the international buyer coming from, and where do they want to buy, and what do they want to buy? And remember, his investee company is Sotheby's
どういう
throughout
と
the
こから
region.
買いに来るかとか、どういうものを、あとはどういうところを買いたいと思ってますか。
今、我々のリストグループのコネクションがあるのが、アジア、香港、シンガポール、あとタイですか、そういうところがあるので、どちらかというとやっぱスノーリゾートを好む方が非常に多いのかなというところは思います。 なので、我々もちょうど今、軽井沢なりニセコなり取り組んでいるのは、そういったお客さんとのシナジーがすごく効くというところもあるので、スノーリゾートを中心的にやっていますし、そこに対する注目度が非常に高いなということはすごく感じています。
So we expect since the List Sotheby's has an office in Hong Kong and Singapore and Thailand, Bangkok here. We hear from the guests, our customer, looking for the more like a snow resorts. So right now we're focusing for Niseko and Hakuba and Kariza, that's a snow resort first.
So the forecast is for snow. Okay. Ito-san, do you have anything to add to that, where the international buyers are looking or what they're looking for?
I see. I think apparently people want to find more opportunities or prime residence in central Tokyo. And place I'm personally interested in the city of Fukuoka. Very interesting, vibrant, and there's many lifestyle people want to access. So I think there's a good opportunity. And last, I think I can mention some two key trends, I think, in Japan. So first thing is, now there is a big structural change of real estate ownership in the market. So non-real estate company have been owning prime properties and location in central Tokyo. But now they are selling those assets to international real estate fund. And I think once the ownership transfer to international fund, they will think about branded residence very seriously, I believe. So that is some key trend I think people here worth to look at, I think.
Thank you. Thank you. Viona, I'd ask you, but anyone wants to know what her opinion is, ask her out in the break, because we've used all our time. I really want to thank both Kiuchi-san and Ito-san for coming all the way from Japan to join us today. It's not very common that we can get people from Japan to participate in an English-speaking conference, so thank you very much for coming. Thank you, Viona, for sharing all your knowledge with us. And see that number for Tokyo, add 2 zeros to it when we meet here in 2035. I guarantee you we'll have 2 more zeros there, and we're going to see zeros on all the other markets. So if you weren't interested in Japan before, you should be. Thank you very much.